Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'm the Standard and this is the Geek in Review. Now, I know it's been a while, but it's been 2020 and life is crazy, and I hope wherever you are, you're safe and taking care of yourself and those around you. So, it turns out that Star Trek has gone Star Wars, not only in tone but a franchise with issues, so let's take a look at Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode 1. Now, it's pretty generally known that Star Trek doesn't really get good till about Season 3. The Next Generation, DS9 and Enterprise all had massive changes in tone, pace and general story throughout the third season that set up what we're going to get going forward. So will Discovery pull off the same trick? There will be spoilers for this episode, so be warned. In fact, I'm going to launch into spoilers straight away, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, or you're saving it to binge watch it, now's your time to turn off and come back later on. From the first episode of this season, especially a two-parter, it is hard to tell where the ship, the crew and the show will end up, but there's certainly a change to this season, and you can tell straight away. You may have seen that the first 3 minutes of this episode were released last week, at least what we thought with the first 3 minutes. It turns out there was actually a scene missing of the mysterious guy that we've seen on the trailer, who's been standing next to the Federation flag in all the trailers next to Michael. Oh, and that's what's in the box, by the way, on his desk. Before we go any further, it's the Federation flag. It's nothing exciting, they're not going to keep us guessing, it's the flag that's on the wall. The episode opens with this character, who we later find out is called Sahil, going about his day-to-day routine, cleaning his teeth and going to work. But it's the future, so you know he's got disappearing beds and desks that float, and he brushes his teeth using a Snapchat filter. And yeah, I get that trying to set up some tension for the episode before the credits, but if you're going to build some mystery for a season, or even for an episode, maybe don't have the mysterious man live such a dull life. Desmond from The Hatch and Lost, it certainly is not. I don't really care about this guy, I don't care what he's doing, there's no context to the scene or what he's been there, and because of that, there's no dramatic tension or interest. Certainly not for me.
Context is for kings.
So while our mysterious office worker is going about his day-to-day routine, Michael is arriving from the past, and as always she needs some help and a friend, but that's okay as she arrives in the middle of a space battle straight out of the JJ verse with the ping ping phaser fire. For the record, I do like the JJ films, by the way, and I'm not going to get dragged into an argument about what's canon and what's not canon. Unless you want to argue about that in the comments section, then by all means please do. That's what the comments are for. For you not to get on, and for me to not tolerate you getting on with each other either. The battle itself does look good. In fact, one of the best parts of this episode is how it looks. Is that they went to Iceland to film for season 3, and they ain't holding back on the Iceland in this episode. The location shots look amazing, and I always loved when Trek filmed on location when I was watching it growing up. Normally location episodes were most likely linked to time travel episodes, like when Voyager went back to the 90s, the very decade it was made, which, believe it or not, was meta before meta was even a thing. So yeah, the episode looks absolutely beautiful, but one of the bad things about this episode is the convenience and the way that it drives along the plot. I mean, Michael crashes into Book, and given all of time and space, she just happens to run into a guy who wants to help her and isn't an insane alien who's a dastardly plan to destroy the Federation because, you know, it's already gone by now. What's the story with Book? Now, I'm not going to be the first person to make that joke, and I'm certainly not going to be the last, but for this episode it seems that he's just there to answer every question that we have and to push the story forward. He almost instantaneously lets us know what the big mystery surrounding the burn is. Isn't the slow collapse of the Federation, Starfleet or its ideology. It's when all of dilithium in the ships decide to explode, and if you know anything about Star Trek, you know that no dilithium means no warp drive. This is just another example of the story being convenient. And another problem, now I know I said this wasn't going to be a rant, but it probably is going to be a rant. If I didn't say that, it's probably because I was too busy ranting over myself for the next rant that I had set up. So this is supposed to be the future, but it just doesn't look very futuristic compared to the previous seasons that we've had of Discovery, and it doesn't even look as advanced as when Picard was set, which is still about 800 years away from where this episode takes place as well. Though it does seem that they are still using the Discovery era shuttles in the future. You know, the shuttles that we've had since season 1 that also popped up in Picard, that again is 100 years apart from Discovery. so it's good that they're keeping the same thread of not caring about the continuity, design, or the heart of the franchise. I mean, after all, who really cares about a spaceship in a show set in space? Now let's change it up a gear and talk about Book's character. The first episode sets him up like a roguish scoundrel, a sort of Jack Sparrow but without the heat or the parrot. In fact, thinking about it, he's nothing like Jack Sparrow. He's a smuggler with his own ship and no company other than his pet cat. So yeah, he's definitely not Jack Sparrow, he's Han Solo, so deal with it. This is what the writers seem to be saying to us and the cast. And this isn't the only Star Wars parallel that I managed to draw from just this episode alone. The entire episode was very Star Wars heavy and had a very Star Wars feel to it. Now, Book and Michael head towards an outpost, and as soon as they get through the door, he double crosses her. After Michael escapes the double cross, they then pair up and go a planet-wide transport-hopping adventure to evade the Empire. Sorry, I mean the bad guys. But these guys are basically stormtroopers because they're dressed in light colours and they can't seem to shoot for shit either. The baddies catch up with him at Book's ship and confront them as he's stolen from them and Kanja Club. Again, sorry, it's very easy to forget which film and which genre I'm talking about here. But he has a cat instead of a giant dog, and he's yet to shoot an alien that dies shouting McClunky, so he's definitely not Han Solo in any way, shape or form. Definitely not. Forget about that. Don't look at it. Don't mention it. So now for the big reveal that I mentioned at the start of the episode of Sahil, the Federation man, or at least the only Federation man or Starfleet person that we know that exists in this future timeline. The internet definitely got this one right, and from the promotion in the trailers, it wasn't really a hard one to get wrong, as he's got a Federation flag with significantly less stars on it, which he keeps on his table. He also tells Burnham as soon as he meets her that he's been waiting 40 years for someone. He tells her that he's always searching, hoping to receive a signal from someone or somewhere out there in space, and that the reason the flag is kept in the box is because he's not a commissioned Federation officer, which actually is supposed to be a Starfleet officer. The three writers of this show, why don't you actually try watching the shows that have came before it, and it might actually work for you. Also, stop using the same bloody models for shuttles in every TV show. We know it, we see it, it doesn't work, and it's just going to cause more of a backlash for the fan base on the internet, which, given what I read in the reviews that I'm seeing so far, is not something that anyone wants at this point. This is where this episode really goes off the rails. As I've explained, this man has been waiting for 40 years for someone to show up who's either associated with the Federation or Starfleet and wants to be. And after Burnham learns this, she tells him that not only is he as worthy as any officer that she's ever met, but that she needs someone to do the job that he's doing. So after meeting this guy for 30 seconds, she doesn't question anything that he's said to her. She doesn't really ask him anything at all. If he knows what caused the burn, who caused it, or how it can be reversed. But going back, what happens is that really blows my mind is that Michael tells him that she needs someone doing what he's doing already. She in essence gives him permission to do the job that he's been doing blindly for 50 years, a job that he'd probably still be doing even if she never showed up. I mean, he's got no idea who she is, but has some sort of religious reverence for her and the Federation, and that, my friend, is the major issue with Star Trek Discovery. Focusing on one character, not an overall crew, goes against everything that Star Trek is. When I originally heard that Discovery was going to be told from one person's point of view and not an ensemble cast, I did wonder how they would sustain this over several seasons, but I'll save that rant for a later date. And after all, these are just my thoughts, but what do you think? Did you enjoy the first episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 3? Do you like Discovery? Do you hate it? Are you looking forward to the next episode? Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you liked what you've liked, do hit the like button. If you've not liked it, don't like it and leave a dislike. And do leave a comment, positive or negative. I want to hear everyone's feedback on what you think. Once again, I've been the standard, you've been excellent. Keep an eye out for more videos, and in the meantime, take care of yourself and those close to you. Hi guys, and thanks again for taking the time to wanted to go with the next generation for quite a while, so here it is. Like and subscribe and posting a video. Thanks again for taking the